Hi everybody, welcome to the Four and Fork YouTube channel. My name is Alexandria and I'm cooking one meal from every country in the world, and this week I'm teamed up with Bakerly. Bakerly is a company that their sole mission for their company is bringing the delicious baked goods of France to American families. And so they gave me some of their chocolate chip brioche rolls, and I'm gonna be making bread pudding with a vanilla sauce with them. And I'm really excited. So keep watching and I will show you just how to make it. Okay, so the first step to making this bread pudding is I took 11 chocolate chip brioche rolls, which is one package plus 3 extra rolls, and I cut them up into little cubes like this. Now the key to having really good bread pudding is to have stale bread, but these rolls are really moist and delicious, and so even making them stale, they need a little bit more help to get them to the perfect consistency for bread pudding. So what I did is I preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and I put this tray in the oven for 8 minutes, just so that they could get a little extra toast and a little extra crunch on them so that they absorb the custard the way that I want them to. So now that I have my toasted bread, we're gonna make the custard that goes onto the bread filling. So to do that, make sure that all of your ingredients are room temperature. I have 4 eggs, so I'm gonna crack 4 eggs here. I have 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar, 1/4 cup of dark brown sugar, 1 cup of half and half, again brought to room temperature, and 1/4 cup of whole milk. And then we have the stuff that makes it super delicious and good cinnamony warm bread pudding. 1.5 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, which seems like a lot, but I promise you it's the perfect amount. 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then I'm gonna mix it all together. Sometimes you need to mix it a little faster to get all the cinnamon to combine. There we go, now we're cooking. The last thing we're gonna do is add in our 4 tablespoons of melted butter. Once it's all combined, I'm gonna take a 9x13 metal pan. I'm gonna put all of our bread cubes into this metal pan. So I originally started making this recipe with just 1 package of the chocolate chip brioche rolls, but I ended up needing just a little bit more to fill up the pan, so that's why there's the 3 extras in there. It's the perfect amount. All right, and spread those out. And then I will pop this bowl out. And all I'm gonna do is just pour this custard mixture over the bread chunks. Now the key to a really good bread pudding is to allow your bread to soak in your custard mixture before you end up baking it. Now also, it's really important with this recipe, because we already toasted the bread, we don't want it to burn while it's in the oven again. The way that we're gonna keep it from burning is I'm gonna take my rubber spatula and I'm just gonna mix all of our bread up and make sure that every piece of cubed bread is soaked up in this custard mixture before I put it in the oven. I'm gonna let it soak here for at least 15 minutes. The longer it soaks, the more it's gonna soak up all of that yummy flavor. I was really excited to start working with Bakerly, mostly because I feel like our missions as brands, they both work really well with one another. All of their products are very clean and there's nothing that's too processed about it. So they actually have a list of 140 ingredients that are on their no-no list that aren't allowed to be in any of their products. It was really fun to be able to work with them and to come up with a recipe for their chocolate chip brioche rolls, which I love. As you can see, all of our bread is nicely coated, so now I'm just gonna let this soak for about 15 minutes, and I'm gonna put it in the oven uncovered for 40 minutes. And then at the end of 40 minutes, I'm gonna take it out of the oven, put a piece of aluminum foil on it, cut some slits in the aluminum foil, and then I'm gonna put this back into the oven for another 10 minutes. So the slits in the aluminum foil are because if you cover bread pudding while you're cooking it, all of the moisture can't release and it gets kind of soggy in the middle, but we're gonna get to a point where our top is gonna start to brown and we don't want it to burn. Okay, so the bread pudding is delicious by itself, but what really sends it over the top is the vanilla sauce that we're gonna put on top of it. This vanilla sauce, I could seriously just like sit here and eat it with a spoon. It's really good. So I'm excited to show you how to make it. I'm gonna turn my pan on to medium high-ish heat. I have 1 cup of heavy whipping cream, 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. If you're really trying to get a beautiful vanilla flavor on this vanilla sauce, use pure vanilla extract. We also have 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and then we have a little bit of cinnamon that we're gonna save until the end. I'm gonna hold on to this and I'm gonna whisk this up until all of the sugar combines with the whipping cream and the butter melts. It's gonna come to a boil, and then I'm gonna let it stay at a low simmer, a really low boil for about 10 minutes. So just make sure that you have 10 minutes to set aside to stand here and whisk this as it thickens so that you can make sure it doesn't burn. Okay, I just took our bread pudding out of the oven. It should look a little bit moist on top, but not soggy, and it should be kind of like pumpkin pie. You know how pumpkin pie is a little bit more watery when you take it out of the oven, and then once you leave it to rest on the stove top or cool a little bit, it'll kind of like all come together in a really nice way. So that's what we did here. I like my bread pudding with a little bit of crunchiness on top with the bread and then the custard underneath. So that's exactly how this is cooked, which means it's perfect. So I'm gonna cut myself a corner slice. I'm a corner slice gal. Pizza, brownies, bread pudding, corner slices all the time. And I'm just gonna use my spatula to lift this out. First piece is always the hardest. The magic key, the vanilla sauce we just made on the stove. I'm gonna ladle it on top here. Look how good that looks. It's good without, but it's incredible with. This dessert is perfect for the winter time. There's so much cinnamony, there's so much cinnamony goodness in there. It's warm, it's delicious, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm really, really happy that I chose to make this recipe. I want to thank Bakerly again for working with me on this project. I love working with brands whose missions align with my own, so it was really awesome to be able to work with them. The full recipe for this is also going to be featured on my blog, www.fourandfork.com. And don't forget to stop by and look at all of the other recipes that are on this channel, because there's recipes from countries all over the world that are really great to make from home. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week.